Well, no, I wrote a screenplay.
You did?
Because the first director attached to American Psycho was David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg was going to direct it, and he already had a young star that I hadn't heard of yet, named a guy who was going to be a star. David Cronenberg told me he's in a movie called Thelma and Louise. His name is Brad Pitt. Oh my God. And he's going to play Patrick Bateman for me. So David Cronenberg and Brad Pitt were going to be the original people who made American Psycho. And David Cronenberg wanted me to write the script. But David Cronenberg said to me, when you write the script, first of all, I don't want any scenes in a nightclub or a restaurant. They're a pain to shoot. So cut all the nightclub and restaurant scenes. Well, that's 70% of the book. That's 70% of the book. And he said, also, I really only want to show maybe one murder. So cut out most of the violence because I'm not going to shoot it. I said, well, that's like another 10% of the book. Okay, I guess so. And then he said, oh, and also make it only about 70 pages because I shoot about a minute and a half a page. That's how I shoot. So make sure don't do an 80 or 100 page script. Do a 70 page script of this. I thought, what the fuck are you asking me to write? Why do you want to even do American Psycho? What is it about? So I wrote the script that I wanted to write, and I threw in all the violence, and I threw in all the restaurant scenes, I threw in all the club scenes, thinking maybe he'll read it and go, oh, of course I have to do it this way. No, he hated it. Absolutely hated it. Fired me and hired another writer. And he hated that script even more, and then he dropped out of the project, and then Mary Herron got involved. And so anyway, but it really is, yeah.
How does your script differ from Mary's script?
Well, this is how it works. We figured out, because there were two other American Psycho scripts, one written, I believe, by Norman Snyder, and one, I believe, written by Stuart Gordon, and then there was my script, and then there was Mary Herron and Guinevere Turner's script. And I think there was one other one by one of the guys who ended up making Entourage, that TV show.
Yeah.
And I forgot what his name was.
Doug Ellis?
Wasn't Doug Ellen. Doug Ellen you're thinking of. No, it wasn't him. It was someone, a creator or producer of that show connected to it. And for some reason, his name... he made a movie called Amongst Friends, and he did a script of it, and he was a hot property in 1990 or whatever. Rob
Weiss?
Rob Weiss, thank you. Rob Weiss, who I was friends with at the time. Yes, Rob Weiss wrote a script as well. Now, everyone figured out, when you look at this 400-page novel, there is basically the same 90 to 100-page script with the scenes that you can use for a movie. Those are the scenes that you can use for a movie. And everyone knew it. And so all the scripts were kind of the same. Yes, you can use that scene, but you can't film that. You can't film that. But you can film these 30 scenes. And so my script was very, very close to Mary Herron and Guinevere Turner's. I tried to get credit for it. Rob's script was a little bit different because he ended it with Patrick Bateman turning into like Godzilla, a giant Patrick Bateman stomping over Manhattan, tearing down skyscrapers. And so he went a little bit more surreal. So he was out of the running for the credit for the final film. But the final film had so much of my dialogue in it. And every line of dialogue is from the book in Mary's film. And everyone says, oh, Mary Herron did such a brilliant job reimagining American Psycho. Every single scene and every line of dialogue is from my novel. It is my dialogue. And yet Mary Herron and Guinevere Turner get credit, and I get no credit as the screenwriter. I didn't win the arbitration. We have these things in America called arbitrations because there are usually so many drafts of a screenplay as a movie's being developed that often 10 writers have worked on a film or rewritten stuff or whatever. And so in order to get the credit on the screen, It goes through a process, and where the Writers Guild of America has like a panel of 4 people going over all of the scripts, and then they decide who gets the credit. And I lost. I didn't get credit. So anyway, even though it's so similar to my script.